was privileged to be 16 years with the SFA, and I was 8 as the assistant. First of all, with Alec Ferguson, Sir Alec, when we went to Mexico, I was in the squad, the coaching staff then. But then with Andy Roxburgh, I was number 2, and I was 8 years in that capacity. At that time, I doubled as the under-21 manager. So it was a great experience that, to have 2 jobs and to get to and the games matched then. The under-21 game was always the day before, so it was easy to accommodate the 2 jobs. But the most difficult managerial job I ever had was, we were flying the Atlantic to prepare for Euro 96, and we were down at Gatwick about to embark, and Maurice Brannan, our travel agent, came and said, travel manager I should say, Maurice, he came and he said, Craig, a little problem here. I said, what's that? He said, we've only got 12 seats in business class, so 11 of your players, we had 23 players, 11 of your players will have to go economy. I said, oh, we can't split the squad, make them all economy then. He says, well, there aren't seats, the plane's full. This was Continental Airlines. And I said, surely. He said, no. Well, John Spencer was in the group, and I said, look, we have to split this group. And John says, well, I'll get upgraded, no problem. I knew everybody, every stewardess in the world. I know them all, and I know every check-in girl. So John went away to the check-in, and I'm saying, he hasn't heard me. There are no seats. There are only 12. He's going to try and get upgraded. And of course, he thought everyone in London knew him. He was a Chelsea star, but in fact, the Queen boasted she knew John, you know. So he went, and of course, the girl said, so that was him. So he was very upset. So I said to the 2 senior players, this is a job for you. Tell me who's going to travel business class. So they had a team meeting, and I didn't attend it. I left it with the players only. I said, come back and tell me. We want 12 and 11. So Colin Henry and Gary McAllister come back and said, oh, we had a great meeting, a bit of aggro, but it was enjoyable. They came away with some suggestions. The first one was, we'll have a change halfway across the Atlantic. We'll change seats. Well, that didn't go down too well. We'll draw lots. We'll put the names in a hat and we'll draw the lots. And that didn't go down too well. The older ones, we'll do it in age. Didn't succeed either. We'll do it on the biggest, the tallest. We need the space in the business class. And that didn't. Eventually they decided, which I thought was very sensible, and that was those with most caps would go. So the 12 players with most caps would go in the business class, and the 11 would have to sit in the economy. Well, unfortunately for me, the line just finished above John Spencer. Well, Spenny is a character. So he was moaning all the time, this is a disgrace, and you know, as usual, Spenny. And the boys just turned a deaf ear to him. But anyway, we got on the flight, and I think the aircraft had hardly got over Ireland on the way to America when a stewardess came up to me, and she said, you Mr. Brown? I said, yeah, I have a message for you. And she handed me this here, and I've still got it. And this was, we had a giveaway for kids and for supporters. Best wishes from the Scotland International squad. So Spenny had written half of, and he had put a sticker over the lads who were in the economy, and he wrote a letter, which I've got, and the letter really said, he said, look, if you don't do something about this, I remember him saying, our tired squash bodies won't be in a fit state to play in the World Cup. But it was good humour, and of course you can imagine the first practice match over in America, we'll play economy against business club. Well, the tackles were going in. I've never seen such a ferocious game, and that was all because this wee man. But that's good humour, and in the photograph we had Brian Henry, who was the video analyst, and Brian obviously wasn't there when the photograph was taken, so he just put a wee sticker there where Brian should have been. Wee Brian, he says there. But all those guys with a sticker over them were the economy guys. And it made for a really happy, although there was a bit of good-natured complaint, but the lads, the atmosphere in the camp was great, and you can imagine at the other end. That was the first. I can give you another. We used to pick the teams for practice matches, and normally we'd pick them according to the team, when we're preparing the team, but just in the training sessions for fun, we would pick the Old Firm against the rest, the Macs, You know, the McLeods, the McStays, the McCoys, the McCalls. The Macs would play the rest. We'd play the Anglos against the rest. We had various, and then I decided once to play the good-looking against we'll say they're the ugly, you see. So I didn't tell them the criterion that I used, but went up and I was throwing the training bibs out, and somebody says, it's a good-looking team against the ugly team. And I said, you're absolutely right. And there were a few complaints, obviously. But I forgot all about it until we arrived back after the World Cup, Glasgow Airport, and I'm walking to my car, and this very nice lady came up to me. Excuse me, are you Mr. Brown? I said, yes. Why was my husband in the ugly team? And I said, oh, sorry, I don't know you. She says, I'm Mary McLeod. Murdo was in the ugly team. I says, well, dyed hair and false teeth, ugly team. So she wasn't happy. Murdo wasn't happy, but it was good for the humour, and I was joking, of course. And you know who the manager of the good-looking team was? Alec Miller was the manager of the ugly team. So we had a great team spirit and good humour, and things like that helped to make the atmosphere very good. And it's still the same, I believe.